From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning, I'm Michael Scherer. It's Monday, December 9th, and here are today's headlines. Attendance boundaries are expected to change for Owyhee Elementary School. Groundwater resources are drying up in the West, and the 18th annual Holiday Kids Bike Giveaway is coming up. A new study shows groundwater resources are drying up in the West. That's due to unsustainable farming practices and rising demand for food production. The Mountain West News Bureau's Caleb Radel has more.
In the West, farmers rely heavily on groundwater for irrigation. They use it to grow produce and raise livestock to meet the food demands of the U.S. and the world. But groundwater is being used much faster than it's being replenished. In some regions, supplies that took a decade to build up are being withdrawn in a single year.
That's how rapid and fast people are depleting groundwater. So there are alarming rates of the number of drying wells in the West. You see, they are not usable anymore.
That's Iman Haikiki. He's a researcher at Purdue University and the study's lead author. He says that's why states may start limiting farmers' access to groundwater. He adds that policymakers should consider how climate change will impact future supplies as temperatures rise and precipitation declines. But he warns that groundwater cutbacks could have economic ripple effects, causing crop production in the U.S. to shrink and food prices to skyrocket. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Caleb Radel.
After a delay allowing for more public feedback, Boise School District trustees tonight are expected to approve a change to attendance boundaries for Owyhee Elementary School. The building is set to become an early learning center. Troy Oppie reports.
Trustees voted in August to consolidate early learning services from across the district at Owyhee Elementary on the Boise bench, but delayed a decision on how to redraw boundaries in order to get more public feedback. Tonight, trustees will get the proposed new boundaries, splitting Owyehee's current students to nearby Hillcrest and Hawthorne elementary schools starting in the fall of 2026. A district spokesperson says they tweaked the plan to allow for safer walking routes to the new schools for current Owyhee students, and they plan to work with the Ada County Highway District to prioritize roadway safety improvements in the area. Earlier this year, the district apologized to parents angry about the decision to close Owyhee, saying it should have done a better job communicating its plan to the school community. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
Avalanche forecasters in our region are breathing a sigh of relief after being exempted from a federal hiring freeze. But the Mountain West News Bureau's Hannah Mersbach reports the fight isn't over.
Earlier this fall, the U.S. Forest Service decided to pause hiring seasonal workers due to a budget shortfall. That includes a lot of avalanche forecasters, the people that dig around in snowpacks to assess safety. At the Bridger-Teton Avalanche Center in Jackson, Wyoming, at least 2 forecasters' jobs were on the line, according to the Winter Wildlands Alliance's Hillary Eisen.
That was going to translate to either a reduced forecast coverage area, fewer forecasting days. If something like that gives, that has an immediate public safety impact.
But Eisen says her organization and other advocates pushed for exemptions, and now avalanche centers around the Mountain West are close to fully staffed. Though it's not a long-term fix, Eisen considers it the most uncertain time in 4 decades. As more people flock to the outdoors in more remote areas, she wants to see Congress prioritize the Forest Service, including its avalanche forecasters. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Hannah Mersbach.
Staff and volunteers at the Boise Bicycle Project are hard at work this holiday season, building and repairing children's bikes for the 18th annual Holiday Kids Bike Giveaway. Jackson Holmes has this report.
There are a dozen staff and volunteers in the back of the Boise Bicycle Project. They're greasing bike pedals, repairing fenders, and fixing chains.
And this washer is bothering me. I had a washer fall off, and I think it goes at the bottom of this.
Brian Kendall is a volunteer for the bike giveaway, putting a wheel back on a pink princess-themed bike.
Well, I know where it came from. It was at the bottom of this, like that, but I don't see how it goes in.
He has worked on bikes in the past, but only learned about this project 2 days ago.
I was looking for an opportunity to get back into like some kind of community service, but also, tinker with some bikes. And until I showed up, I didn't realize how big this operation was between the repair area and the warehouse. So it's really intense. It's really cool what they do. So,
beginning in August, children from across the valley submitted drawings of their dream bikes. Devin McComas is the executive director of the Boise Bicycle Project. He's been with the organization for 4 years.
That's an event that's core to our mission, in which we make sure that young people for whom a bike can make a life-changing difference are paired with a bike.
These kids were referred to the event by teachers, counselors, or social workers. This year, the BBP hit a record number of 630 dream bike requests.
And for us, it's not important that it's a record. It's important that every one of those kids has their own story, that a bicycle is going to change their life. So,
on December 14th, the bikes will be presented to the kids who dreamed them. BBP is still looking for donations of kids' bikes to help fulfill the 630 requests. Jackson Holmes, Boise State Public Radio News.
You can see all of the drawings on our website, and we also have a link to the Adopt a Bike Fund to help the project. And that's today's episode of The Connector. I'm Michael Scherer, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out boisestatepublicradio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. Thanks for listening.
We could all use a little help navigating the news these days. The Consider This podcast wants to give you a hand. 6 days a week, we'll help you make sense of the day's biggest news story and what it means for you in less than 15 minutes. Listen now to the Consider This podcast from NPR.